Faction Rally is back with a new set of rules and a slightly changed gameplay loop with a slightly revamped reward system. So, how is it? Well, let's address the biggest change. You can only pledge to one faction at a time per account. No more of this one of each faction on each character stuff. With Faction Rally being here 3 times this season, you're still able to grind a full set of gear and ornaments with every faction on every character, 1 faction per month, although this will take you quite a bit of grinding to do. The biggest issue with this new system is that 3 exotic weapon catalysts are locked behind rank 50 of each faction. So in order to get all 3 catalysts, you need to hit 50 with every faction. Not everyone has the time for this, which I totally understand. I can also understand the frustration of the time limitations of Faction Rally. If you don't happen to be around for a Faction Rally for whatever reason, then you are not going to be able to get all 3 exotic catalysts. It's not a grind that you can do whenever you want, like the Vanguard or the Crucible ranks or something like that, which is something people have wanted. We need a nice mix of long-term grind and RNG lottery rewards. It's a really intense grind for about a week, and then you're just sitting waiting for the next one to roll around. It's sprinting a mile and then walking the next 3 when we want to be just jogging for 4 miles. That being said, you can still grind the ornaments during the winner's week of the rally, so it's technically 2 weeks for some of the ornaments. However, what I think the general community should also understand is that getting rank 50 with every faction and then potentially getting every ornament for every class is not something that can and will be for everyone to accomplish, despite it being a little bit easier than you might think it is. Rank 50 and all of the ornaments, that's a very hardcore goal to literally get everything. The event was not designed, at least I don't think it was, to allow everyone to get everything, like most people are accustomed to doing. I don't think it should be an expectation that you are going to get everything with casual amounts of play, or that someone who plays 2 hours will get the same amount of things compared to a player who plays for 20 hours. Bungie appears to be shifting away from the everyone gets everything style of investment. Exotic Masterworks were also something not designed to be obtained by everyone. It is not expected that the majority of players will get the majority of Exotic Masterworks. Now, one compromise that I think would be totally acceptable is to have all factions have all Masterworks, and you can just pick whichever one you want when you hit rank 50, but you can only get 1 per rally. This way, people don't have to pick factions that they don't want to pick if they don't care about anything else in that faction's arsenal. It kind of goes against my future War Cult's pride when I have to go to Dead Orbit and I have to go to New Monarchy just to get the exotic catalysts. As a concept, I like that you can only pick 1 faction because it makes your decision actually matter. There's no point if you can just pick everything. That's kind of lame in my opinion. But with everyone having to rotate to all of the factions anyway to get their exotic catalysts, it doesn't feel good that you can only pick 1, not to mention that it doesn't feel like picking any particular faction really matters anyway. It doesn't feel like I'm picking my favorite sports team or anything like that. That's likely because factions have not really been explored that much, so we have no reasons to care at all. There's no emotional investment either. Picking your faction is just a matter of who has the best weapon for sale, or which catalyst am I missing. I'm kind of nitpicking now, but hopefully you get what I'm saying. Otherwise, on the loot front, apparently armor not being able to be bought from a vendor is not intentional, and Bungie is looking into that issue. That was basically the only other note that I had, that you can't buy individual armor pieces via rank unlock. Not intentional. Moving on to the gameplay aspect, Bungie went pretty hard into the whole Lost Sector system, giving them their own gameplay loop. Renown is a cool concept. Do some stuff to build it up, and then dump your stacks into a lost sector completion. But as you stack Renown, things get harder and you die easier. You get 1 Renown for a patrol beacon, 3 for a public event, but if you're wearing a full set of faction armor, you get 2 for a beacon and 4 for the public event. Conceptually, I like Renown, and I'd like to see Renown expanded to other parts of the game for the next few rallies, because I think Lost Sector farming is incredibly boring as hell. It just so happens that Lost Sector farming is yet again the most efficient method for farming tokens. So most people feel like you have to do it, and that is the only way. I think part of the reason Bungie went so hard into the Lost Sector portion of the gameplay loop is because the community ran Lost Sector so much. So they wanted to make the gameplay loop around them, which is fine, I guess, because they're underutilized. But why did people run Lost Sectors in the previous faction rallies? Well, because they're stupidly easy, stupidly fast, and gave you the biggest bang for your buck in terms of time commitment. I personally think the rotation of Heroic Public Event, Patrol Beacon into a Lost Sector ad nauseum is, well, just that. I really want to see more activities become as efficient as Lost Sector farming. There's a mentality that you have to do Lost Sector farming in order to get everything. You don't have to, but if you're someone looking for rank 50 on everything, you might feel locked to it. I'd like to see Heroic Strikes get Renown. For example, Renown still stacks up to 5. You would still lose one when you die, but you'd get maybe 7 or 8 Renown per strike as you hit checkpoints. I don't know if you would still include the attrition modifier in it, since we already have modifiers in Heroics and people are complaining about modifiers in Heroics already. Either way, if you complete the strike with a 5 stack, you'd get 15 tokens, and then 4 stack would be 13, 3 would be 10, 2 would be 8, 1 would be 6, and 0 would be 5. Something in that vein. I'd like to see raids reward a little bit more as well. Right now they feel like a tacked on bonus. Maybe that's all they're designed to be, but in terms of difficulty to reward, it's not even close. Feel free to also throw in PvP into the mix as well. If things get equalized in terms of efficiency, that would be good so that people don't feel locked to sector farming, even though no one is technically locked to sector farming at all. It just won't feel like you have to. So if you're a solo player, yeah, maybe you do Lost Sector farming, but if you have a group of 2 or 3 people, maybe you go hit up some Heroic Strikes instead. As for token farming, it is not nearly as hard to reach rank 50 as I thought it was going to be. Will you need to do some extra grinding? Yeah, you will, but that should be expected given that you're trying to get 1,000 tokens in a week. But let's put those 1,000 in perspective. Every day on each character, you're given a faction rally milestone that nets you 15 tokens. Not all of them are as easy as the others, though. One time it was having to do 3 strikes, which, you know, can take a while. And another time it was just get a 3 stack of Renown and do a Lost Sector. That doesn't take that much at all. If you do every milestone on every character every day, that's 45 tokens a day just from that. That's 315 tokens. Then you also include the tokens that you get from completing the activities that you need to complete in order to complete the milestone. Lost Sectors at a 5 stack give 10 tokens. Heroic Public Events give 5 tokens. So if the daily milestone is do a Lost Sector with Renown, that's 5 plus 10 plus 15 tokens times 3 characters, 90 tokens for that. So as long as you're doing your milestones on all of your characters, assuming that you have 3, and you do a little bit each day, or maybe you just no life one day, you should be able to get the 1,000 tokens you need. But again, rank 50 is not going to be something for everyone to very easily achieve, and I don't think that should be the expectation for Faction Rally and potentially other activities moving into the future. Overall, Faction Rallies are a little more refined than they used to be. Previously, the event was just Shader Rally. Now it's more like Catalyst Rally. Improvements can still be made to the event. Let's have more activities be as efficient as doing the easiest stuff in the game. I think that should be the goal for the next one. Maybe also having all catalysts being available at rank 50, but only one per event. Bonus thoughts! I've been thinking about something Bungie said when they were talking about the annual pass. I'll let Deej talk here to just directly use their words.
I would say that to set your expectations for this right now, we're leaning harder into the things that keep you coming back to the game week over week, month over month. It's activities, it's action, it's challenges, it's things to earn and collect. We're not leaning as hard into cutscenes or cinematics. Obviously, we're telling a story, but it's a story that you'll discover in moments of action, the reason we play the game, and things that we can collect, and our understanding of the world that you're creating will grow over time through the annual pass, and you'll be building on the great story that you're telling in Forsaken.
Yeah, it's definitely about not having just a single moment where people come back and having that kind of extend and stretch out.
Yeah.
Now, I'm both okay and not okay with this. The reason I'm not okay with it is because I want to care about the story and the lore in this game, and I want to get immersed into it, and story cutscenes and all of that mentioned is a pretty good way to accomplish that. Are they completely eliminating cutscenes from content updates? I have no idea. It would not surprise me if they did, though. And for the people who like that kind of stuff, it sucks that it seems like they're going to be pulling back on it, at least for the content updates. I imagine we'll still have some cutscene action in the expansion itself. The reason I am okay with it is because of the 4 $20 expansions that we've gotten, I'd say only one of them came anywhere close to satisfying players' expectations of what a story campaign should be. Dark Below was pretty weak, all things considered. Curse of Osiris, about the same. And Warmind was maybe slightly better, but not by much. Bungie just does not get the time to have a fully fledged story in these expansions. The story has always been the most consistently criticized thing in Destiny. It just ends up being rushed through in about 4 to 5 missions. We get minimal context, and it feels like major characters are just being used to show that they exist, right? Like, oh, it's Osiris. Oh, he's here. All right, 2 hours later, goodbye. You know. Now, hopefully, that new information combined with the annual pass means that they can actually have a story go longer than just one expansion. That's another frustrating thing about the Destiny chapters, is that they need to end in the same expansion. We don't have any of these overarching stories that last for multiple expansions. We don't have any reasons to stay invested in the story or anything like that, because we just have bam, 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 this, and everything moves so quickly. I feel like the current method of 2 hours of rushing through a story just isn't good for the game, and Bungie needs to either go all in or get out. And it looks like they're on the get out side at the moment. We'll need to see how they end up really going about this before I can talk any more about the situation, though. Those are my thoughts on Faction Rally and some bonus thoughts on the annual pass story situation. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.